Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Free webinar. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till the end. My lovely audience, today I am your host from Bangladesh. My name is Yarnis Akhtar. Dear audience, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to uh, Institution of Global Professional Free webinars. Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous morning. It's my humble request to and pleasure to all of you stay with us till the end. And don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends. Institution of Global Professionals serves student and community resource, providing holistic social work and education for creative component generation. IGP is leading on online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. Institution of Global Professional is an educational institution provides social work with globally recognized. We organized our webinar training and offline online courses web-based and train speakers and coaches from all the world. Our mission is to empower people. We have already completed 1044 webinars successfully. Let me remind you again, don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comment box. Now let's start our webinar. So let's switch together and learn together. Today our webinar number is 1045 and the topic is diversifying assessment in online learning. And we have our speaker. Our speaker his name is George Litonius Mario Domo. He is from Philippines. He is a Dean College of Education, Blazers College. Let's welcome our speaker. Hello, sir.
Hello, it's already good afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone.
Here,
Okay.
good morning.
Yeah, it's good morning
Sir,
there.
sir, welcome in our webinar. Sir, first you have to give some description about yourself, then you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm Dr. George Mayordomo. I'm presently now I have to make some necessary correction. I'm no longer connected with with the Villagers Montessori College. So I am now the language director for the National University in Manila. Okay, so I've been in the academy for 26. So I started entering the academy in 1996 to 1997. So I've been the program head of the College of Education for 13 years, and I became the dean of the College of Education here in the Philippines for 5 years, and now I stooped down a little down in my career. So I moved to another school and I took the position of language learning center director. Okay, I'm handling students, by the way, coming from different parts of the globe. So mostly from China, from in Indonesia. I have also some students in Indonesia, and students from Central Asia, of course, and of course Africa. We have a lot of students coming from Africa, so they are under my department, the Language Learning Center. So they are being taught how to use English language correctly while they are in the Philippines, because most of them are coming here for sports and academic endeavors. So they are being taught for that. So thank you very much. So I guess that's my very short introduction about me, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. But sir, your presentation is not visible. I don't know why. I
My
already okay. Yes, yes. Now it's visible. Okay, you can start your presentations.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So again, good morning, educators. Good morning, teachers, and probably we have students here with us this morning. I know this afternoon already. It's already 12 past now in the Philippines, and this morning we are going to, or this afternoon we are going to discuss the diversifying assessment in online learning. Now, we have so much problems on the onset of pandemic in 2020, when we started shifting our face-to-face to online modality. So we have experienced a lot of problems. Teachers were actually um, talking about what should be assessed online. Are we going to do the same assessment as we did before in the face-to-face learning modality, or do we have to modify our assessment to cater to the online learning modality? So those are just some of the questions that teachers were able to raise during the onset of the pandemic. But now, let's not forget that face-to-face modality and online modality are somehow the same. Okay, what's the difference between the two is that in the online modality, we were facing technology. We were using the internet. We were using computers in dealing with our students. So we are we teachers are actually facing the computer without even seeing the face of our students. So that's the only difference. But I mean, the learning objectives, assessments, and of course, the kind of instructors we have, the dedicated teachers that we have, still the same. Okay, we were still using digital tools just like during the face-to-face modality. And of course, we have also group projects which we could also do in our online modality. So there's no much difference actually between the face-to-face and online modality. But it's okay now in the Philippines, that we are now trying to shift again to hybrid or blended learning, where 50% of the classes are now being taught face to face and the other 50% is being taught on online using online modality. So let's not forget that almost the same thing happened in the face to face and in the online modality. Instructors or teachers or professors are still the same person with the same enthusiasm and dedication in teaching students. And the creativity of teachers in handling online modality or face-to-face modality are still there. We are still being creative. We are still following the learning objectives that we have set on the first part of our lesson, and we still design the same assessment all throughout. The one that we used before could still be used in the online modality. Now, let's not forget the outcomes-based education. So everybody talks about outcomes-based education, and I guess all schools are now into OBE. In the OBE, we have to always align everything. Now, our learning objectives should be aligned with our teaching and learning activities and assessment tasks. So everything must still be aligned. Though we are using the online modality, but let's not forget to apply the concept of OBE still. We're in our ILOs, or the intended learning outcomes, and the TLAs, or the teaching learning activities, and the ATs, or the assessment tasks, must be constructively aligned. Okay, you cannot just give anything, because probably some teachers would think, no, this is online, it's okay to give anything, to give students whatever I want to give them. No, it's not. We still have to follow with the alignment of our learning objectives and our teaching and learning activities and assessment tasks. So everything must still be aligned for us to be able to really determine whether students are learning from us, or whether the students was able to actually master the skills that we want them to master. So that's the purpose of this. Now let's not forget that our purpose is to really um, integrate these skills to our students for them to master. And the question is how to assess learners in distance learning modality. So this is now the big question. How are we going to assess them? Because we're just using technology, and we are not actually inside the classroom where we could see students work actually, no? So we could not see them working as a group or work as an individual, wherein we could attest that they are really doing their job or assignment or quizzes. Now, the question is how to assess them. of course, we have to still use the same assessment, no, that we have used before. So these are actually the most or still effective online learning assessment. So we have the written assignments. So we could still use this in the online learning modality. So written assignments like short essays, research papers, action research, case study, responses, and so on. And we could always use this even in the online learning environment. Another one is online discussion. This is very effective still to assess our students learning on that particular topic that we are discussing now. So we could always use the online discussion way of or approach in teaching. Then we could do this during our asynchronous or asynchronous discussion. So what we are doing, it's discussion board, blogs, or wiki probably, or group emails, Viber lines, or WhatsApp. We can make use of that for our online discussion. Of course, we can make use of the different social media as well, or yeah, social media to discuss any concerns, no, on a particular topic. Then we could also use the concept maps to, to assess our students. Then we could also make use of presentations in an online learning modality. So we could always ask students to do presentations. Mostly recorded video presentation is very good in assessing students' performance. Then we could always use tests, quizzes, and exams. Still, we can make use that because our learning management system or the LMS that we are using still allows us to do quizzes, to give students tests and exam. And what good or what's good about this learning modality natin, no? It's the one that we are using now, is that the LMS. I'm talking about the LMS that we are using. It's very efficient because no need for you to do the manual checking. And the LMS actually will be the one to check everything for you, not the essay, now not the essay, or not the research paper, but of course for the multiple choice exam or quizzes, allow the learning management system to do the checking. Okay, then when we are going to look at assessment, we have the so-called formative and summative assessment. And in formative assessment, we know where formative assessment happened, right? So we are all teachers and we know where it happened in our class. So we could also use the pre-assessment, finding out, before learning cycle, diagnostic in nature of never graded. And ongoing assessment naman, checking up along the way, of course, the various points of during the learning cycle. So we could always use formative assessment even in the online learning. Then, of course, summative assessment should happen at the end of a particular unit or at the end of the particular discussion. We could always apply this. Okay. Why do we have to assess our students' learning? Now, question is, why do we really have to assess our students' learning? Probably to give our students um, the grades that they really deserve, no? So, not to mention the authentic assessments that we could always give to our students, like portfolio making using rubrics. Now, rubrics is very effective in assessment process. Then, assessment is an integral part of the learning process, and we could not do away assessment. We could always, we are always obliged to assess our students, especially if you have discussed already a particular topic and it's time for you to assess your students whether they have understood the topic that you've discussed in different forms of assessment. Now, question is, what part or what should be assessed? to our students. Now, this will include the areas of knowledge and the critical thinking, academic skills they will be developing. We are going to look at our students' critical thinking skills. That is why we need to assess. And we have to also look at the knowledge of our students, their understanding of concept and their application of concept. So we need to assess them before we could proceed with the next discussion. Then we also have to assess the academic skills of our students, whether they have already mastered the grammar per se, they have mastered the writing skills needed for writing a research paper, they have mastered the skills in making a summary, for instance. So we need to really assess them to for us to be able to determine what should be our next step after the assessment. Okay. So another one, it's a blend of assessment method can make a significant positive impact on students' performance. It's not just about assessing our students, no? But we have to be very creative in assessing our students. We have to diversify our assessment process. You cannot just give your students a paper and pencil assessment task like multiple choice, true or false, or essay, but you could always diversify the assessment through making different kind of
Sir, your slide is not moving. You are
and
your slide is not moving. This is the first slide yet.
my
Yes.
slide is not.
Now, yes, yes. Okay, and
Is it okay?
now it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Now, again, as what I have mentioned, we should not make use of only one forms or type of assessment. So we have to diversify our assessment in terms of students' performance. And that, we could always make use of different forms of assessment. Not just paper and pencil, but we could always ask the students to probably do presentation, record their presentation through, and then present their video, and probably do ask students to make a research on something and then present the research in front of the class, or present the research on an online platform and so on. So because when we are going to just give our students always the same form of assessment, it's somehow boring on the part of our students. It seems that there is no challenge on them. So we could always um, do something about our assessment, make it as exciting as we can for our students. Because there are students who would think that assessment is a punishment because they are being assessed, and then they are being we are trying to look at their flaws, their mistakes, no? But we have to always tell our students or inform our students that assessment does not only focus on their mistakes, but we have to look at the holistic aspect of the result of the assessment so that we could help students improve whatever they need to improve. That's the purpose of assessment. Okay, then now the first thing that we need to assess is, or example of this is assessing an essay. How are we going to assess an essay? So in this session, we have the following learning objectives. So number one there is understand some of the reasons why there is a need to assess students' essay. Learn the two approaches in scoring essay type of test. Number one is holistic scoring and analytic scoring. And number three, compare two approaches in scoring essays type of test. Now, I hope that we could realize our learning objectives this morning. So what's the point of assessing an essay? These are questions that has been asked by so many educators. Why do we have to assess an essay, or what's the point in assessing students' essay? Another one is, how do you assess students' essay? There are problems along the way in assessing students' essay. Um, a lot of things might happen there. Teachers sometimes they are so tired of reading students' essay and that they just assign score. Teachers are not informed that they can use the scoring rubrics to assess the essay. But if you have 5 sections with 30 students, so 5 times 30, so how many students, how many essays are you going to assess? So that's always the problem. Then another question, in what ways have the scores helped them improve their writing? Now, if you are going to give scores to your students based on your assessment, do you think that the score that you gave to your students could improve their writing skills? Okay, that's a big question. Then, what are your greatest challenges in assessing your students' essay? A lot of teachers, as I mentioned a while ago, face a lot of problems in assessing students' essay because of the number of essays that they are going to check or assess, plus the number of students in the class, and so on and so forth. Therefore, teachers sometimes are just assigning grades to essay of students so that everything will be okay. Now, according to Bradley, what's the point of assessing an essay? According to him, it's because for the selection. This is to determine whether learners have sufficient language proficiency to be able to undertake the further study. So we need to, in assessing an essay of the student, we need to decide whether the student has to proceed or has to repeat, especially in terms of language proficiency. Okay? Just like in our university, in National University here in Manila, we have to assess the language proficiency of our students every term, for us to be able to determine that they can really proceed and work with their academics, that they will be able to surpass all the academics tasks that they will be facing in the future. So we are assessing their speaking skills, writing skills, and listening skills. Okay? Then that's number one, why we have to assess the essay of our students for selection. Then another one is for certification, to provide people with statements of their language ability for employment purposes. Now, once we see that the essay of students are good enough, they were able to really organize their ideas, they were able to make use of the language there correctly, and then we could tell the students you are now good, and that you are ready for employment. I mean, you can write reports, you can write good sentence, and it might be that you could also be good in your oral communication. So that's one of the reasons why we have to assess students' essay for selection and for certification. Then another one is for diagnosis, to identify learners' strengths and weaknesses. So when we check the essay of our students, we have to identify which part of language the student was able to find it difficult, and so that next time around we are going to focus on that part to strengthen that students weakness on that part of the language. Now, for instance, if you found that the essay of your student has a very several mistakes in terms of the choice of language, vocabulary, or grammar, then you have to inject vocabulary and grammar lesson in your class, because students, based on the result of their essay, students need more training on this area of language. Okay? Then number four, instructional decision making. Okay, to assess our students' essay, because we need for decision making in terms of instruction, to decide what material to present next or what to revise. Okay, so for instructional purposes. Then another one is for motivation, to encourage learners to study harder. They have to be informed about their strength and about their weaknesses in terms of essay writing, so that they will be motivated to improve themselves and to do more in terms of language writing. Okay, so these are just some of the reasons why we need to assess the student's essay. Then let's go to the approaches in scoring. Now we have already assessed them, but how we are going to score the essay. There are two main ways of scoring essay: the holistic approach and the analytic approach. Now, holistic approach or scoring means that the assessor or your assesses the text generally. Okay, the general aspect of the essay. It's what we call holistic scoring, rather than focusing on two or more specific aspects. So it's somehow difficult, no, for using holistic scoring, especially if you are not really good in using this, because you are looking at the whole essay, not just a part of it, but the whole essay. The assessor quickly reads through a text. No, you need to read the text, gets the global impression, and awards the grade accordingly. Okay, you have to read the text, then understand the text, get or know where whether the students was able to really include all the necessary information that should be needed in the essay. Then once you get that, you have already taken the impression whether the essay is good or bad, that's just a mediocre one, or it needs improvement. Then it's time for you to give your score. That's what we call holistic scoring. Now, the holistic approach is supposed to respond to the writing positively rather than negative, focusing on the things the writer has failed to do. Okay, so you have to be positive in holistic scoring. Okay, then this is what we can use in giving scores to the essay of our students using holistic approach. Okay, you could make use of the rubric. This is a sample. Okay, this is a simple sample rubric for holistic assessment. Then another one is analytic scoring. So separates different aspects of the essay. Example, organization, ideas, spelling, grades them separately. Okay, we are now using this rubric for analytic. Now, if you have noticed, very simple analytic rubric that we use as teachers when we are going to focus on the organization of the essay, the theme of the essay, the grammar, the choice of words, the tone, of course, and language or convention. Okay, so this is what we call analytic. We try to focus on different parts of the essay, and we give scores separately on this particular criteria. Okay, so that's analytic. And we can make use of this rubrics for essay for analytic. Okay, we have there the focus, content, organization, style, and convention. These are our criteria, and 1 to 4 here are our descriptive analytic. Okay, let's go to another one, the holistic versus analytic. Let's look at the difference between the two. Holistic rubric provide a single score, while analytic rubric provide a specific feedback along several dimensions. Okay. Then the advantages. quick scoring is given if you are using holistic. So you can eventually give your quick score. Then the advantage of analytic is more detailed
Sir,
feedback.
your slide is not moving. I don't know why.
Is it okay now?
It's okay, but you have to check is it moving or not, because it's all
In
time
my
in one slide. I don't know why.
is it moving?
Now it's move to the next slide.
Is it moving now?
No, sir. Next.
Is it?
No, sir.
Wait. I'm still on the disadvantage.
You in the holistic with analytic slide.
I am walking moving now.
But no, but there is no moving. It's you are in the 24th slide. 24
Yes,
number
I'm
slide.
still there. I'm still there.
So you now move next slide. I just check is it working or not. Move to the
Yeah,
next slide.
I'm moving now. I'm moving.
You go in 25 number slide.
Am I moving?
Now it's moving.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then
I see.
next slide.
I see I'm
Next slide.
moving.
You go for 27 slide.
Yeah, I'm still on the 24.
But it's so slow.
What slide are you looking now?
26 number slide.
26. Probably because of the internet. Are still moving.
No, sir. It's
I am presenting slide number 25. Can you see that?
no, sir. It's this is the now 26 number slide.
I am presenting 27. Can you see?
No, sir. It's not yet 26 number slide.
Wait.
Now
I
it's
have
going 27 number slide.
I have to present again.
Okay.
Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I can see. Move to the next slide.
Wait. Is it moving?
No, sir. This is the first slide yet.
Yeah, but you can see can you see that I'm moving?
No, you go the second no, second long slide. Okay, now it's in the 24 number slide. It's moving but very slowly.
Yeah, yeah. Can I continue now?
Yes, you can continue.
Okay, so what I have mentioned a while ago, let's look at the advantages of these two. No, again, holistic scoring is provides a quick score to essay, and the advantage of analytic is it you could give more detailed feedback. Okay, and the disadvantage provide detailed information when you use the holistic scoring, and the analytic is very time consuming in terms of scoring. Now for teachers, you could probably you could decide on which are you going to use. Nobody would really dictate you, but it's up to us which one are we going to use. Are we going to use holistic or analytic? It's up to us. Even the school principal could not dictate us on what rubric are we going to use. Okay? So it's up to you if whether you use holistic or analytic. Okay, I hope I'm moving. No, I'm now on the slide 25. Suggestions for assessing students' essay. Okay, number one suggestion that in assessing students' essay, be sure to know what you want students to be able to do and why. It's really a must that we have to tell our students what should they do and why should they do that. Okay, and number two, set clear, concrete learning goals and measure progress with simple, direct criteria. When you assess your students' essay, you have to set a very clear learning goals. Okay, and try to measure the progress with a very simple criteria. Then focus your feedback on the task, not on the learner. Do not look at the learner. Just give your feedback based on the output of the learner. And save time by prioritizing and being specific. Okay, do not just go around the bush. When you make comments, suggestions, do not go around the bush. Just go directly to the points based on what you have seen in the essay of your students. Focus more on improving students' work, not on improving students' personality. Okay? Then, most importantly, teach your students how to give themselves feedback. Teach them how to criticize their own work. Because if you are going to teach your students on how to criticize their own work, it would be easy for students to prepare themselves for your critical analysis. So we give analysis to our students so that they could also give their own analysis to their work. So teach them on how to give feedback to their own work. We could always use this, no? Um, we call feedback probably coming from peers or feedback coming from self of the student, or you could ask somebody to give feedback to the work of somebody and in return, so in that way you are doing the 360 feedback analysis. Okay, you cannot just ask one person, but you could probably ask different students in your class to give their feedback to the work of the other students. Okay, and that's very good that this is where students could feel that they are really a part of the teaching and learning process. Allow them to really practice their skills in talking, in giving feedback, in analyzing problems, and so on and so forth, for them to be able to feel that they are really a part of the learning process. Then do not burden students with excessive feedbacks. When you give feedbacks, just give
Uh,
feedback
Sir,
directly.
it's still on the it's 24 number slide. I think you have to make it full screen. Then you can. It is moving. Then it's moving.
I am already using full screen.
I don't know why it's problem. You in the value you can see the slideshow. In the value you can see any slideshow.
Where?
In in PowerPoint, in the value you can see any slideshow.
Yes, yes. I do the slideshow.
Uh, so why it's not full screen? I don't know.
Wait, wait.
You go in the value. Uh, don't In the value you can see the slideshow option.
Where?
No, sir. In the value, you can see in the zoom bar, zoom. In the value, you can see any zoom.
Below the screen.
Yes, there is a slideshow option. There is a reading view, slideshow, zoom. You have to click the slideshow, then it make it full screen.
I cannot see that.
Mm,
Can you, on your end, can you not control the slide?
uh,
Mm, up slideshow. I cannot find the. Sorry, I cannot find it.
okay, wait a minute. Sir, you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Uh, you wait a minute. You can see my PowerPoint slide.
Yes.
Uh, you can see I click slideshow
Mm,
in the
no,
value. You don't see?
no.
Wait a minute. In the value, you can see the comment notes in PowerPoint, slide shorter.
No, 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 no. I cannot see that.
I in the value I click in slideshow, then it make full screen.
I cannot see that. That one. See, I'm doing that. I'm also doing that.
But why is not happening?
Yeah, I'm doing that slideshow. Then it becomes full screen on my end. end, but it's full
Okay, then
screen on your end.
wait a minute.
There, I in my end, I'm already using the full screen now.
So first you stop your screen. Stop your screen.
Yeah, I'm using now the full screen.
Sir, first you have to do stop your screen. Stop your screen.
To
I
to
no
what?
you have to stop your screen.
Stop my screen.
Yes. Then you
Yes, it's
go present. Then you go present.
present again.
Then share screen. Then you go window.
Wait, wait lang, wait. Um, I present, share
Then
screen.
then you go window. There is a enter screen
Window.
windows prompted. First you go window.
Yeah, it's done.
Uh, wait. No, sir, it's not like that. Uh, you have to go first window, then you have to close PowerPoint slideshow. Then it's make it full screen.
Again.
First, you have to go present, then share screen. Then there is a enter screen window prompting. You have to click on the window. Then you can see the PowerPoint slideshow.
Okay, wait. This is complicated. Stop sharing. I
Okay, then
present
you go
screen,
share. Yes. Then you can see there
share
is a enter.
screen.
Yes. Then you go window.
Yeah, window. Yeah, I do
You
it.
can see any PowerPoint slideshow. There is a two option. PowerPoint slideshow. You have to click on PowerPoint slideshow. Can you see any
PowerPoint
PowerPoint
slide.
show? Any you
No,
can see?
I can only see entire screen, Microsoft Edge window.
Okay, you now go in window.
Window. Yes. Now, then I share.
Is there anything PowerPoint slideshow option?
Wait, I look for that. Share. How about that?
No. Okay, but you can start.
I click already the the PowerPoint show icon.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Okay, you in the 31 slide.
Yes, 31.
Then you go to 32 now slide.
Okay, it's already in 32. Is it moving?
No, sir. Okay, you can. Um,
Is it moving or not?
no, sir. You now it's moving. Now it's in the 30 number slide.
Okay,
Now it's
31.
31 number slide. Now it's now 31 number slide.
So it's moving now.
Yes.
Okay. Is it moving?
Yes. Yes. Next,
Okay.
next. Yes, now it's moving.
Okay. Okay, let's continue. Thank you for your guide. No?
Thank you.
Okay. We are now on do not burden students with excessive feedback, as what I have mentioned. You have to only give your students simple feedbacks. Now, do not give them so much feedback that they could not bear that, or they could not remember even the different feedbacks that you are giving them. So make it simple. Then, example of essay topic that we could always ask our students to work on. So the topic might be education is the single most important factor in the development of the country. So either you ask your students agree or disagree. And then students would have to start writing their first line, okay, of the essay. Then they could also make use synonym, no? Synonym, and they could also make use a paraphrasing. And the other one, schooling is the most significant factor in the advancement of the nation, because so students could start saying that as they begin their essay. And you could also make use of the concession in asking students about essay on the same topic, no? So you could always ask students to do the concession. So what's concession is, they could probably start doing this. Although many would argue that the economy is the most important factor in nation building, but I think that education has a far greater impact because, okay, you could always ask students to do that. It's more scholarly looking, and it's more intelligently written if they are going to do the concession. Okay. And another one is assessing presentation of students. Now, we ask students on an online modality to present something or probably a report. So how are we going to assess them? Our learning objectives in this might be learn different ways of assessing students' presentation and use technology-based assessment or use rubric for assessment. Then many teachers believe that students' presentation demonstrates students' knowledge and skills but do not have enough time for all students to present. It is our objective as teachers to see our students present their work or outputs inside the class. But the problem is we don't have much time to look at all the presentation of students. That's always the problem. If you have if you have to if you have a class of 1 hour period, then you use the 15 to 20 minutes for your introduction, explanation of instruction, and so on and so forth. So you have already used the 15 or 20 minutes. Then you have a very little remaining time for all students to present. Now that's the problem. Not everybody could present for 40 minutes. Not everybody could present probably for 45 minutes or 50 minutes. So that's always the problem of all teachers. So question, what's the usual thing you do with students' presentation in your class? So how do you do it since you have very limited time for all the students to present? So what teachers should usually do? In this case, we are going to ask help, uh, the technology to help us out, able to see all the presentation of students. So we could use technology, could help us out with this. So we have virtual version of students' presentation can make it. Okay. Then, possible for students self-assessment, peer review, and teachers grading in all the same space. So, pwede natin, we could always make use of virtual version for all these students' presentation. You could ask your students to record. You could ask your students to upload on a particular website probably so that you could watch it during your spare time so that everybody will be checked. And also, it would give a chance for the rest of the classmates to also look see the video presentation of their classmates. So virtual version should be done. Then you could also use a rubric instead of guidelines, no, to assess the work, but be sure that it can help move the process online. You could also make use rubrics, though it is submitted online, but be sure that your rubric really fit to what are actually looking at the online presentation. Then, depending on your goal or discipline, you can ask your students to record their presentation using different media files, probably like audio file, then videos or online presentations, and so on and so forth. So it's up to you on how you are going to ask or tell your students to do it, and how creative you are as a teacher to assess your students' presentation. You can make use of different assessment modality, especially for online presentation. So again, audio file could be used by teachers, videos, and then upload probably that to their YouTube channel, or could send this, the video could be sent to your drive, no, for you to be able to watch that during your free time. So you could assess all the students' work and so on and so forth. Then online presentation could also be good for as long as you give students ample time for preparation. And audio files, of course, this effective medium for assessing students is in discipline like language or music. Okay, to click them in one space, you can ask the students to share their audio file in Google Drive or SoundCloud and other applications that you want them to use. So they can share the link to the file or of the file to the class. So I'll ask them to download that to the possible drive that you are using. Then ask them to share the link to the class so that everybody could view the video. Then an effective medium for assessing certain types of performance, such as artistic performances. So video is one of them. Lab activities could also be presented through the use of video. Oral communication skills and students' teaching experiences could be one of the so many activities where we could make use of a video for assessment. Then in to click them in one space, you can ask them to share their video in YouTube and give the link to the class. Okay, you can ask your students to download the video in YouTube and then ask them to provide the link for the whole class to view the video. Then the online presentation, an effective medium for or when students are describing information presented via images or slides. So this is very effective, the online presentation. They can use images of what they have done during their pandemic or their best practices to avoid COVID-19. So they can make use of all the materials that we have to present their work online. So this is very effective as well. We can move students' presentation out of the classroom for the following reasons. So we could not always make use of classroom setup for presenting students' work. So we could always use it outside the classroom, like the online presentation. So you don't have time during class meeting. So that's one of the reasons why we have to move our students' presentation outside of the classroom, because we have no much time inside the classroom. Then you want to facilitate peer review. You want other students to also look at the work of their classmates and give their own assessment. Then you want to be able to review the presentation more than once as you assess each student's work. Now, what is good in bringing the student's presentation outside the classroom is that you can view it several times for you to be able to give your holistic assessment to the student's work. Okay, so you could always repeat viewing students' work if you are not sure about the grades that we have received. Then you could always view it again for you to be able to give your holistic assessment. Then you want students to get experience virtual presentations skills needed today's workplace. So you are not only teaching your students how to do presentation, but you are teaching them how also to make use of this virtual presentation, which is now very in demand, no, in terms of application for job. So when they apply for a job, they will be probably asked on if they can do the online presentation, do they have experience using virtual modality, or they have made probably presentation before using online platforms and so on and so forth. So this is one good training for students as well. Okay. Sample students presentation rubrics, or you could always create your own rubric in assessing students presentation. Okay, this is just the sample. And you could make use different rubrics, any other rubrics that you want, no? For as long as you know what aspects of the presentation are you going to look at and be given your final grade. You can download probably, or you could create your own rubric, or you could just modify rubrics as has been used before. Okay, this is just an example. Okay. Then we have sample, no, this is not sample online presentation. I hope you can see. I know, sorry.
Marso ng 2020 nang lumaganap ang pandemyang banta sa buhay ng bawat isa. Ang hagupit nito sa bawat manggagawa ay pagbaba ng kita at karag
Are you seeing the screen? Can you hear the video?
Yes, sir, I can see. You can see.
Are you, you can see. How about the sound?
Yes, we heard the audio.
Okay,
hanggang
thank you.
paghihirap.
Okay, this is one of the work of my students, no? Sorry, this
Ako
is
po
in
si Beth
Filipino.
Peña Flor, 53 years old. Nagtatrabaho bilang isang porter sa public market ng Marikina. 25 years na akong porters.
Isa si Nanay Beck sa lupuan ng kauna-unahang kababaihan na naging porter sa bayan ng Marikina. Bagamat may edad na, ay patuloy pa rin kumakayod para sa pamilya.
Gusto ko na rin ito. Nung
Okay, we cut the video, but what I am saying here, this is one of the works of my students. No, they were asked to uh, do the documentation of some working women who are doing man's job in the market. So this is one of their, video presentation. Okay, that's the sample of the video. Now let's go to assessing students project. Now, um, how are we going to assess students project? Okay, these are samples of project of students, probably for elementary, secondary, and even tertiary. You could ask this you could ask students to make their own project. Okay, a project for EcoSmart. Okay, for the presentation. So project is a method of allowing students to use what they have learned in their courses in a practical context. So you could ask your students to practice all the practical knowledge that they have learned in your class and put them into one project to create a concrete example of that particular knowledge. Then it in this practical application of projects that make them such a useful part of the learning process. Students must make a connection between one piece of learning with the other. What makes project for students is that they could always make use of their past experiences and their present knowledge. They can always put them together, connect them together to come up with one good result, and that is now becomes now the project. They have to transfer the skills they have acquired in all learning areas for them to create the best results. So all learning areas, they could always make use knowledge that they have learned from other subjects that they have in school or other experiences that they have for them to be able to come up with a very good idea. And the truth in the classroom is many forms of assessment, such as assignments and other learning activities, are written by teachers for students. We teachers do not do the thinking. We normally do the thinking, and the students act on our instruction. That's the fact, no? Inside the classroom, we are always do the thinking, and the students act on our instruction. We do not give our students a chance to always think or to also think of what should they have to do. It means that we are always giving instruction to students. We do not give our students a chance to think of their own and decide on their own. So when you are going to give them something to work on, you have to always ask your students, what do you want to do? That really, you can think that you can give your best shot or your 100% capabilities in that something. Do not just give your students something to work on that might not interest your students at all. So try to ask your students something that they are really interested on working. Okay. Then, according to educational psychologists, learning it's not like walking in the straight line or climbing a ladder. Okay, it's not like we're walking on a straight line or climbing a ladder. So, students' learning is like doing a 3D jigsaw puzzle or making a complicated model rather than climbing a ladder. Okay, they need to always connect everything for them to be able to realize that they have learned this. They have to connect all their concepts, all their ideas from different subjects, from different activities that the teacher assigned them so that they could come up with one good idea, and that's learning. You cannot just teach students to learn now, but you allow students to really understand the concept and then ask them to use what they have learned before and what they have learned in the other classes and put them together to come up with something concrete, and that's what we call learning. Okay. Project work allows students to connect various pieces of knowledge and together to give a solution to the chosen problem. That is why we give them project, because project is something that really could attest the skills and learning of students. This is where they could apply all the concepts and ideas that we have gathered from all other subjects we have or they have inside the school. A project can be assessed at the completion or in any stages. Now, when you give your project assignment to your students, do not assess the project as one output. You could always assess the project in a different level. So, okay, stage one, stage two, stage three. Do not just ask your students, okay, you can submit your project tomorrow, the whole project. But you want, as teachers, we want to assess how students do the brainstorming, do the planning. Okay, that's how we assess the project. They have to do first the brainstorming, discussing what should be done in the project, what should be included in the project, and how to do the first step of the project. So that's how we are going to assess students. Do not assess the project as a finished product. But the most important thing is how students started doing the project. Okay, so that's the most important thing. So provide feedback also, of course. When we assess projects, we have to always provide feedback on the stage of our assessment. And just be cautious, no? Should be applied when giving feedback. Be careful in giving feedback to our students. Okay. And question for students: what new content did you learn while working on this project? Okay. So we have to always determine whether the students have learned something new or have discovered something new while working for the subject, for the project. So you have to always try to check that. Did you know more or less than you expected? So some students might think that, okay, it's easy, but as they work on the project, they find out it's not really easy and they need a lot of things, materials, and knowledge to put together to come up with a good project. So it's good that we teachers should always tickle our students to always tell us what's the problem they have encountered in working with a project. And what surprised you? What else would you like to know about the topic? And so on. Then collaboration and teamwork must be encouraged in terms of project making. So we have to always encourage our students to work and collaborate with the team and work together with the team members. Then we have always to ask our students to use the technology probably, no? Because technology now should be integrated in all discipline, and we always have to uh, advise our students to make use of the technology as possible in the completion of the project. Okay, so we have here planning and management time of the project. Anyway, if you are giving projects to your students, you could always make your own planning and time management. No, how many days is given, how many hours should be allotted to this, and so on. So it's up to you, and be sure you should really explain this to your students, so they will be able to meet the deadline of the project. Okay, you have there the level one, the level two, and so on and so forth. What should be checked on this level? Okay, so this is just a sample. You could always make your own sample for planning and management of the project. And for ranking, of course, this is a sample ranking: exceptional 90 to 100, commendable 75 to 89. Okay, it's up to you if you are going to give this or follow this one, or you can make also your own. So you could also make use of the rubric so that your scoring should be authentic. Okay, for poster, okay, you could also ask your students to do the poster project. Okay, then you have the scoring rubric for poster. And in creating your rubrics, you could always visit the Ruby Star. Okay, it's for free. Ruby Star, you could go there and then create your own rubric, or iRubric or eRubric. You could always visit that. All you have to do is just type it and then create your own. Or you could also go to Rubric Maker to start working your own rubric. Or you may download rubrics from Google and modify the rubrics based on the criteria that you want to check on the work of your students. It's up to you. Again, Ruby Star, it's a good place where you could make your own rubric, or eRubric. You could also visit that, or Rubric Maker. Then, to make your lesson and your interaction with students very active, you could also use the edpuzzle.com for your any lesson that you have, no, any topic that you have in school. So edpuzzle or the quizzes.com, or you could also make use of the Kahoot. I know that some of you are very familiar with edpuzzle, quizzes, and Kahoot. Okay, I guess we're done. Takeaways for this discussion. Do not give too much assessment tasks, especially this time of online modality. Okay. We all know that some students are having a hard time in terms of connection or in terms of internet, in terms of time management. So please do not give too much assessment, especially in the online modality. Less is more. Remember that. Less is more. Communicate properly your purpose to your students. So you have to really explain everything, what you want your students to do about the assignment or the project that you are asking them to work on. You have to really explain it correctly to your students clearly so that there will be no problems along the way. And be responsive and be flexible. When it comes to deadline, kindly extend your deadline, or you may always cater to the to the concerns of students, because probably they were experiencing a lot of problems in the completion of the project and in submission of the project. So you have to be very communicative and be responsive to the queries of your students, and be flexible with the deadline. Continue to offer other opportunities for students to enhance their learning. You could always do a lot of things, but be sure these are necessary in your class in terms of learning enhancement, or skills enhancement of students. Give students a reward and say thank you. Okay, do not be so uh, do not be so minor, no, in giving students a reward. Okay, so always just say thank you and probably congratulations would do. That would be appreciated by your students whenever you tell them good job, no, thank you very much, that's awesome, you did a great job, and so on and so on. That would be a great thing that the students could hear from a teacher. Then put students first. Okay, put students first. But of course, limit the students' contacts. No, when in terms of night time, do not just tell your students that you can text me anytime, you can message me anytime. But of course, we are human being and we are also people. We have always limits. So after dinner, you ask your students not to message you, not to post anything after dinner, because you are going to rest now. Be patient and observe maximum leniency. Okay, I mentioned it a while ago. You have to be lenient in terms of student submission, students attendance, student deadlines. No, you have to be lenient. Always be flexible. Okay, that would be all, and I guess thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. It has been very informative for us. Now, sir, it's time for our quiz session. After completed our quiz session, we come back again in our question answer session. So you have to wait for some minutes. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will come back again in our question answer session. Dear participants, time for our quiz session. To join this session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. After short video, we start our quiz session. So let's enjoy our quiz session, and don't forget to mention your friends to join our quiz session. Uh, Welcome back in our question answer session. Quiz session. To join this session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IG. You will pick your name from Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on certificates. And top 10 will be awarded with quiz completion certificates. Already 29 people join in our quiz session. Dear participant, we are waiting for your joining. So please everyone join in our quiz session early and don't forget to mention your friends to join our quiz session. To join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IG. Dear participant, we are still waiting for your joining. So please everyone join early. We encourage everyone in our quiz to join in our quiz session. To join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. It is so sad that we have noticed that who keeps joining within two or more same name entries. We don't count them. So please everyone join one name. After 2 minutes later, we'll start our quiz session. To join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. After 1 minute later, we'll start our quiz competition. Now we start our quiz session. First question. The first stage in the marketing process is option 1 needs assessment. Second option test marketing. The first stage in the marketing process is option 1 needs assessment. Second option test marketing. And the correct answer is option 1 needs assessment, and 70% people are right. Now is your dashboard. In our dashboard, the top one is Jordan Joy. Then we have Corazon Tamio. Then we have Evelyn. Then we have Michelle Tarashina. Then in fifth position we have Flami Raghavan Salviojo. Our second question: what is the underlying belief in a selling orientation? Option one: selling products with the highest margin will bring success. Second option, selling the highest volume leads to the greatest profits. And the correct answer is option 2. Selling the highest volume leads to the greatest profits, and 32% people are right. And now, still top one is Jordan. Then we have Violeta, Richo. Then we have Evelyn. Then we have Joel Abarnasser. Then we have Michelle Tarashina. Now we go for our third now question, and the question is Starbucks partnering with chapters in Canada is an example of option one strategic alliance, second of acquisition. We have only 6 seconds, and now we see the our correct answer. And the correct answer is option one, and 90% people are right. We see in our dashboard, still our top one is Jordan Joy, then we have Evelyn, then we have Mandela, we have then Michelle, then we have Joel Ebarnasser. Then we go for our fourth round question, and the question is which of the following comes first in the marketing research process? Option one, identifying the problem. Second option, developing a hypothesis. I say the question again. Which of the following comes first in the marketing research process? Option 1 identifying the problem. Second option developing a hypothesis. And the correct answer is option 1 identifying the problem, and 82% people are right. Still, our top one is Jordan, then we have Evelyn, then we have Violeta, then we have Michelle. Fifth now question is what is the second step in the consumer purchase decision process? Option 1 information search. Second option evaluation of alternatives. What is the second step in the consumer purchase decision process? We have only 2 3 seconds. Now we see our correct answer, and the correct answer is option 1 information search, and 52% people are right. And now the top one is Evelyn, then we have Michelle, then we have Pauletta, then we have Liam, then we have Jordan Joy. Now we go for our sixth now question, and the question is the member of a buying center who controls the flow of information to others in the center is called the option one referee. Second option gatekeeper. And the correct answer is option 2, gatekeeper, and 73% people are right. Now, in our dashboard, the top one is Evelyn, then we have Michelle Tarashina, then we have Violeta, then we have Liami. Now, we go for our seventh question. Assessment of learning would be classified as formative or summative. I say the question again. And assessment of learning would be classified as option 1 formative, second option summative. We have only 2 seconds. Now we see our correct answer. And the correct answer is summative, and 28% people are right. Now our top one is Violeta, then we have Leah, then we have Adeline, then we have Michelle, Tarashina, then we have Kiwi, Shreya. Now we go for our eighth now question, and the question is: I am starting to get the hang of online learning. Option one true, second option false. I am starting to get the hang of online learning. Option one true, or option two false. We have only 3 seconds, and now we can see the our correct answer, and the correct answer is true. And 90% people are right. Almost all the people are right. Still, our top one is Valeda. Then second position we have Leah. Then we have third position Michelle Tarashina. Then Evelyn. Then Ishia. Now we go for our ninth round question, and the question is: I should take my online classes seriously even though they are not in a regular classroom. Is it true or false? Say the question again. The question is: I should take my online classes seriously even though they are not in a regular classroom. True or false? Now we see our correct answer, and the correct answer is true, and 97 mean almost all the people are right. Still, our top one is Violeta. Then we go for our last and final question, and the question is: planning learning experiences and instruction is fast and foremost in the backwards design model of instruction. Option one true, option two false. And the correct answer is false, and 50%, 15% people are right. Congratulations, Validator. He's our top. She's our top one. Now we see our leaderboard. In our leaderboard, the second one is Mia. Then in third position we have Michelle Tarashina. Then we have in fourth position Charlene. Then in fifth position we have Evelyn P. Waperi. Then sixth position we have King Wei Shea. Then in seventh position we have Barnasar. Then eighth position we have Ricky. And I will cut the. I will not count the Joel Barnasar because he joined in the same name, so I don't count him. Then in ninth position we have Armeri. Then in 10th position have Corazon. Congratulations, our top 10 quiz competition winner. We have all of your name which you entered during joining. We'll pick your name and prepare certificate and we'll post them on our Facebook official page. Our Facebook official page is Institution of Global Professional. Our Facebook page is Institution of Global Professional. Dear participant, after short video, we'll start our question answer session. Uh, Participants are requested to ask their question in our comment box. Please address a speaker name and ask your question. After short video, come back again. So let's enjoy our question answer session. Dear participant, it's time for our question answer session. So if you have any question, you can ask in our comment box. And let's welcome back our speaker. Hello, sir. Welcome back, sir, in our question answer session.
Hello again. Okay, it's
Hello,
already 42. I hope everybody is still alive.
yes, sir. Uh, Sir, our first question from Flomir Salviejo. Good afternoon, sir. How do teachers effectively create a rubric in assessing performance tasks?
Okay, how teachers effectively create a rubric in assessing performance tasks. Okay, thank you, Sir Flomi. Okay, Sir Flomi, are you from the Philippines? Okay, so anyway, as what I have mentioned a while ago, that we could always we could always adapt existing rubrics already, and then we are going to modify the content of the rubric or the criteria that has been found in the rubric. If you really would want to make the existing rubric, and then try to revisit the content, and then of course the first thing that you have to consider is what are the criteria that you have in mind that you want to assess in terms of students' performance, because not all teachers are assessing the same um, aspect of students' performance. So we have our own way of looking at how students perform. We could the more you write a lot of criteria in your rubrics, the more it becomes complicated. So I would suggest that you are going to only include very few of the criteria. Now, for instance, if you are looking at the language performance or language enhancement of students, then you ask the students to prepare a short role play, for example, then your target is the language enhancement. Then you focus on how to use the language convention, the choice of words, then organization of ideas. Make it very simple, no? So that you will not go somewhere, or that the rubric would not bring you somewhere else in assessing your students' performance. I would advise, sir, no, that yes, si Ma'am Azaya mentioned here that I mentioned a while ago that less is more. Okay, less is more. So do not do not be overwhelmed of all the criteria that you have in mind. There are some teachers who are really very overwhelmed. You have a lot of things in your mind that you want to see in the performance of your students. So do not do that, because it might be very complicated. So less is more. Select only which one should be assessed. Focus on the essential skills that you want to check on students' performance. Thank you, Seb.
Okay, sir. Sir, our third question from Aaron. Good afternoon, sir. What is the main difference between analytic and holistic rubrics? Which type of rubric is recommended?
Okay, so the difference between the two, when you speak of a holistic rubric, you are, I mean, holistic, analytic and holistic rubric. Now, I would suggest the difference between the two is that in holistic rubric, you are looking at the general aspect of the essay that you are trying to assess. You have no specific criteria. You are looking at the whole aspect of the essay. Then the other one is the analytic, is that you are trying to dissect the essay. You have different sections in the essay that you want to check. That's analytic. Now, I have presented a while ago the disadvantage and the advantages of the two. Now, the holistic rubric, it's more advantage because it's easy for us teachers to give the score right away. When you read the essay, you can eventually give your score. But if you're going to make use of the analytic rubric, you are going to read the essay and then look at the different criteria on the rubric. You have to look at it, consider all the different criteria in the rubric, and then assign the score for each of the criteria. That's the difference between the two. Now, I could not suggest really which one is good for us to use. No, either it is holistic or analytic, but it's up to us teachers. Which do you think of the two rubrics find you more comfortable of using? Okay, it's up to you. Which one are you going to use? Are you more on analytic or are you more on holistic? It's up to you. So nobody could dictate us on which rubric should be used in assessing students' essay, and any rubric could work properly. Actually, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir from Mohammed Anayat Hussain. Dear sir, what is rubric?
Okay, so rubric. This is actually set of criteria. No, it's we call rubric as an authentic assessment. Now we use this for authentic assessment, because it stipulates the criteria that we want to look at the from the work of our students. So there is what we call a criteria and a specific description about the criteria and the score that we would want to give once the students was able to meet the specific criteria and the description of that criteria on that rubric. So that's the rubric. All you need to do is just a criteria with a score, and that you are looking at that criteria on the work of your students, and then you give a score. Once you are being satisfied by your students based on the criteria that you have written in the rubric, then you could always assign a score. So that's the rubric. We call it an authentic technique in assessing our students' work. Okay.
Okay. Sir, I think there is no more question. We covered all of our question. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. It's been very informative for us. And on behalf of IGP, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time from your busy schedule to be the speaker at our webinar. Your present and wise word help magnify our webinar. Our all thanks to your enlightening words. I hope everyone can learn from your presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone, and thank you everyone for coming. Those who are on the live in our Facebook. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Uh, dear participate, dear participate, we today uh, some of our technical problem. We can't share our today's webinar code. We will provide the code in a short time. And thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your active participation. I hope everyone can learn from our webinar and enjoy our session. See you in our next session. Till that, stay happy and blessed. And thank you so much, everyone. Once again, I'm Ernie Sakhtar from Bangladesh.